Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You sound like you're all ready to go. Thanks for your patience. Sorry to keep you waiting this evening. We ran a little long in workshop this afternoon, so good discussion. If you'll please rise, the Reverend Selton Rhodes with Greater Zion Church of Christ will lead us in our invocation. And then the Girl Scouts of Central Texas will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend Rhodes.
Every head bowed. Our Father, our God, creator of all, Lord, we come humbly before you once again. We thank you for this day that you've made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, we thank you for your wisdom from above to crown the heads for our great leaders of this great city. Lord, we ask that you just continue to bless them, bless every effort that is put forth, order their steps, and establish their goings. Thank you for every occupant of this city, every inhabitant of it. And Lord, we just ask that you continue to guide us and direct us as we give you the praise and give you the honor that's due your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ladies, would you come forward and lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance? Face our flag right here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Don't go too far away. We'll get you right back up here. Well, thanks to everyone for attending this evening. Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Temple City Council for Thursday, March the 4th. We have a number of recognitions this evening, the first of which will be to recognize the Girl Scouts of America and the lovely young ladies that just led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could ask the girls to come forward and leaders, if you'll come forward and let us present this proclamation. From the office of the mayor, I offer this proclamation. Whereas March the 12th of 2010 marks the 98th anniversary of the Girl Scouts of the USA, founded by Juliet Gordon Low in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. Whereas throughout its distinguished history, Girl Scouting has inspired millions of girls and women with the highest ideals of character, conduct, and patriotism. Whereas through the Girl Scout leadership experience, girls develop the skills and lessons that will serve them a lifetime so that they may contribute to their communities. Whereas Girl Scouting takes an active role in increasing girls' awareness of the opportunities available to them today in math, science, sports, technology, and other fields that can expand their horizons. And whereas more than 3 million current Girl Scout members nationwide will be celebrating 98 years of this American tradition, with nearly 50 million women who are former Girl Scouts and living proof of the impact of this amazing movement. And now, therefore, I, William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, with great pride do hereby proclaim March the 7th through 13th of 2010 as Girl Scout Week in the City of Temple, Texas. And I urge all citizens to recognize the 98th anniversary of Girl Scouts and to express appreciation to the commitment Girl Scouting has made to support the leadership development of America's girls. In testimony whereof I witness my hand and the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, on this, the 4th day of March of 2010. Young lady. Can I get one of you young ladies to take this? Thank you all very much. And to the moms and the dads that help lead in Girl Scouting and volunteer in all the activities, we thank you very much for your contributions to helping Girl Scouting. Thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Our next proclamation, I ask Mr. and Mrs. Bill and Sheila Burning to come forward, please, with the Central Texas branch of the National Association of Social Workers. And anyone else from your association that you wish to come forward, please, Bill, bring them forward. Vinny, how are you, sir? Well, thanks to you both for coming this evening and giving us the opportunity and the privilege to present this proclamation in recognition of a very important profession in our community and for the work that you do. Whereas social workers stand up for others to make sure everyone has access to the same basic rights, protections, and opportunities. Social workers have been the driving force behind important social movements in the United States. Whereas social workers help resolve systemic issues that negatively affect community life and also believe that there are no limits to human potential. Whereas social workers work through private agencies, private practices and organizations, hospitals, the military, government, and educational institutions to provide resources and guidance that support social functioning. They are on the front lines responding to such human needs as homelessness, poverty, family breakup, mental illness, physical and mental disability, substance abuse, domestic violence, and many, many other issues. And whereas social workers make a wide range of social contributions throughout their careers, which are filled with purpose and possibilities as they work to help millions of Americans lead more rewarding lives. Now therefore I, William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim March of 2010 as Professional Social Work Month in the City of Temple, Texas. And I call upon all citizens to join with this National Association of Social Workers and the Central Texas branch of the NASW in celebration and support of social workers and the social work profession. In testimony whereof I witness my hand and the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, on this, the 4th day of March of 2010. Sheila. See you. Thank you. Thank you so much, folks. Next is a couple of presentations, both to our partner organization, Keep Temple Beautiful, who in the springtime we have many activities that occur, so we've got a couple of them that we want to recognize today. And if I might ask Ms. Tanya Gray, the Executive Director of Keep Temple Beautiful, and Zoe Rasco of Keep Temple Beautiful. Come on up, Zoe. All right, okay. So Tanya will present this one to you. And again, this is a proclamation in recognition of a special event that's become an annual event for us in Temple, a very fun one, and one that's meaningful to our schools and our partners and to the community. And so I offer this proclamation. Whereas, throughout our nation, many concerned citizens are actively involved in recycling solid waste as a way to protect our environment and conserve our natural resources. Whereas, the Put It Here campaign, sponsored by Keep Temple Beautiful, is a useful instrument to get our schools and community involved in picking up litter and correctly disposing of recyclables. Whereas Project Redirectory is a natural partner of the Put It Here program, as it is a community-wide effort to collect old phone directories for recycling. And whereas community efforts such as Put It Here and Project Redirectory constitute important strides towards eliminating our nation's litter and solid waste problems. Now, therefore, I, William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim March 1st through April 1st of 2010 as Put It Here Project Redirectory Days in the City of Temple, Texas. And I urge all citizens to join with the City of Temple and Keep Temple Beautiful in supporting all efforts to promote a better environment through the recycling of telephone directories, and thereby conserve space in the landfill, and to remember to always think, where and I use it up or redirect it. In testimony whereof I witness my hand and the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, on this, the 4th day of March of 2010. Tanya, thank you. It's always fun. It's a great time to get into the schools. Anything you want to say about the project?
I was.
Let me get you. Oh, you do it there? Okay.
Well, good evening, everyone. Every time I attend one of these meetings, I end up saying something, so I can't be like the Girl Scouts and just leave. Although I wish they were still here, I'd kind of get them to volunteer on a few things. Project Redirectory is actually an annual project for us. This is our 17th year, and we actually do it in regards to AT&T phone book recycling. And what occurs is we actually get the elementary schools involved in a contest. And the contest has 3 prizes, $300 prize for first place, second place is $200, and $100 for first place. Well, this year we're going to do a kickoff at Kennedy Powell Elementary next Thursday, March 11th at 8:30 a.m. So we're going to have those kids who were the winners last year to kick this off for us. Project Redirectory is a recycling contest. You guys should actually get your phone books next Wednesday, March 10th. So that gives you an opportunity to recycle your phone books. You can take them to the landfill, or you can take them to any of the HEBs and recycle there. They have bins out there for you, as well as Walmart. You can recycle your phone books there. But you know, I would think that you'd probably want to help out the elementary students and bring or take your books to them, because this is a contest, and to show your spirit in regards to the kids doing this, as well as businesses in the area, because I know and realize that all of you have phone books, and you need to recycle. We appreciate your assistance. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Next.
We're trying to break it up a little bit.
Okay. Well, we'll do the same thing. I'll let Mayor Pro Tem present this next proclamation. All right. Thank you.
This proclamation from the Office of the Mayor. Whereas Keep Temple Beautiful Incorporated, a local nonprofit organization, strives to empower individuals to take greater responsibility for enhancing their community environments. Whereas Keep Temple Beautiful Incorporated, in partnership with national sponsors, has established the Great American Cleanup, the largest such grassroots effort in the nation to organize and bring national attention to community improvement activities undertaken by its participating organizations. Whereas Keep Texas Beautiful, a state affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, is working with communities, counties, and volunteer groups statewide to conduct litter prevention, cleanup, beautification, community improvement, and waste minimization activities. Whereas the caring citizen volunteers of Temple and Keep Temple Beautiful are committed and proud to do their part to sustain and improve the quality of life in Temple, Texas. And whereas the City of Temple and Keep Temple Beautiful wish to support the nation's largest organized cleanup, beautification, and community improvement program built on the foundation of civic pride and individual responsibility. Now therefore I, Patsy Luna, for William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim Monday, March 8, 2010 as the kickoff date for the Great American Cleanup in the City of Temple, Texas, and I urge my fellow citizens to observe this national event throughout March, April, and May by connecting with fellow citizens to engage in projects benefiting their community. And it's signed by William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas.
Well, I'll give you the mic, too. Make sure we're turned on here. Yeah, there is one of those, too.
All right, thank you very much. The proclamation says all of it, but just want to call to your attention that the 3 months in spring's a great time for cleanups, and really want to encourage all of y'all. I see some of you out there I know have helped with some of the projects all throughout the city neighborhoods. Last year we did graffiti removal and cleanups and recycling events. Project Redirectory is one of our big ones, and so really encourage you. 15,000 communities across the country participate in this every year, millions of people, and Temple is very proud to be one of those many communities that participate. Thank you.
And I didn't introduce her as she came up, and Ms. Zoe Rasco is our vice chair of our Keep Temple Beautiful Board of Directors, and she does a tremendous amount of work for our community through Keep Temple Beautiful and many other organizations as well, but she does great work, and we thank you so much, so appreciate you being here tonight. And one more recognition this evening, if we can, one of which we are extremely proud, because it's, again, recognizing one of our own. And I asked Ms. Judy Dewar to come up, who's our library director for the City of Temple. And I think Ms. Lisa Youngblood is here, representing the Texas Municipal Libraries Directors Association and other members of the City of Temple Library Board. And Ms. Youngblood, may I give you this if you want to make this presentation, please? I would be honored. Thank you. Let me give you a microphone. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, council members, mayor, and the City of Temple. I am Lisa Youngblood, representing the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association. I am so pleased to be able to come today to honor your city and your library with the Achievement of Excellence in Libraries Award for 2009. This is something that your whole city can be proud of, because of all of the 500-plus libraries, public libraries, in the state of Texas, only 27 libraries are receiving this award for the year of 2009. I would like to hand this over to you. I know that you are proud, because this definitely shows the excellence in all areas of librarianship, as well as it shows a commitment to providing services for all of the citizens of Temple.
Asked some of my staff to come along because they're the ones who actually did the work that got us the award. I just sort of documented and sent it in. So thank you to all the staff for all the hard work you do.
Ms. Youngblood, thank you for being here, and if you want to recognize, Judy, each one of your members of your staff, would you do that for us this evening?
Sure.
Tell us who.
Erin Gaines is our children's librarian, and she's actually a Temple native who's come back home to be our children's and actually now teen librarian. Diane Wolf is our outreach librarian, and what that means is she goes out with the bookmobile to the nursing homes and the low-income housing. Kelly Sinclair is our assistant children's librarian. She does a lot of our publicity pieces and also story times and planning for summer reading and that sort of thing. Judy Stover is our library secretary, who keeps me out of trouble. Lynn McIver is one of our reference librarians, and Nancy Williams is our reference supervisor.
Thanks to each and every one of you. You make us very proud of the library. I mean, you know, we've got a great building, but like I've said so many times in so many different settings, it's not the building itself that makes the library great. It's each one of you that project that library into the community and throughout the community, and we're so proud of the work you do and proud of this recognition that you've received. So thank you and congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Youngblood. Thank you very much. Well, I think we just had a very good setup for the next part of our council meeting, and that's an opportunity for public comment, because I happen to know a little bit about what the people that are here this evening to speak on the public comment portion are here for. So citizens who desire to address the council on any item may come before the council at this time to address the council, and public comments will be received during this portion of the meeting. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and no discussion or final action can be taken by the council. First, I'd like to ask Ms. Genevieve Gregg to come forward to the podium and make your comments. You want to use the hand mic? It is just fine. Welcome, Ms. Gregg. So nice to see you.
Thank you. My name is Genevieve Gregg, and I was born and raised in Temple, Texas. I was away for about 11 years, and excuse me, I came back because I knew that I wanted to do whatever to give back to the community. I wanted to give it back to my hometown. What I did, for the last 11 years, I worked as a content mastery instructor in one of the public schools in the Dallas area. And I was working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. What I found that 6th, 7th, and 8th graders was coming to me and they could not read. And I said, this is something that's going on all over our nation. So what I decided to do, I designed a program, and at first I started to implement it in the Dallas area. But I always knew that I was coming back home. I retired in 2007, came back to Temple, and I wanted to implement the program in Temple. But what I found, that there were so many wonderful reading programs, in the Temple area and I did not want to duplicate what was already out there. So what I did, I assembled a 24-member advisory team to help me find, the pockets of the community that was not being met. Their needs was not being met. What they did, they helped me. We found that, like I said, the pockets of the community, and we are going to use those pockets and bridge the gap, for the kids that was not, being seen. So we're going to act as to bridge the gaps and to connect the dots. We're going to collaborate with all the wonderful programs in Temple. And what we're going to do, our first road, we're going to hold a book drive. And I wanted to ask the Temple City Commissioners, you are our leaders. We look to you for guidance and direction. And I wanted to talk with you about a great leader that reached out and helped a child. This great leader he was first president of the Republic of Texas. He was a Texas senator. He was also the governor of 2 states, one Texas and one Tennessee. This fantastic man was just happening by in Huntsville, Texas, when he saw a crying, frightened child. Now, he didn't have to do that because the era that he lived, that this was common as to what was going on. And actually, it was a slave auction, and an 8-year-old boy was on the auction block. Now, Sam Houston decided to rescue this young child from something that he felt would be one of his darkest times. Sam Houston took Jeff Hamilton at the age of 8, took him home, made him, a playmate for his children, and Jeff Hamilton became one of the most sought-after leaders and speakers of his time because of his participation with Sam Houston. Sam Houston taught him how to live. He presented character, dedication, and Jeff Hamilton spent his life, over 100 years, talking about what Sam Houston had done for him. Now, what we want to do, you are our leaders. Sam Houston was a leader, and he was one of the greatest leaders of the nation. So we're asking you, the city commissioners, to stand with the Jeff Hamilton Reading Club and set the tone for the book drive that we're going to start April 17th of 2010. So you are our leaders. We're looking for you looking to you for guidance. Sam Houston took the time to help a young child, and we're asking you to help us set the tone for our community to, raise books. We want each and every one of you to donate 2 books. One for the visually impaired, the large print, and we are going to pick up the books. We hope that you join with us, not as a collective group, but a personal interest. You are citizens of Temple, and we want you, like I said, to donate 2 books to us, and we're going to see to it that deserving children get those books. We want you to write a personal, encouraging note in those books, to a child. Stay in school, listen, and this is what we are all about, and we want you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gregg. Could you just tell us one more thing? What is your relationship to Jeff Hamilton?
Larry and myself, we are fourth-generation descendants of Jeff Hamilton. Paul is a fifth-generation descendant, and we're carrying on his legacy. He inspired me to stay in school. He's the reason why I finished school. I went through the public schools here. I went through Temple Junior College and the University of Mary Hardin Baylor, only because I was inspired by him, his legacy, his passion for reading. So,
Thank you, Ms. Gregg.
one other thing, and this is out of total respect and admiration for Bill Jones. Bill, I know your mother. And you know she raised a good son. That's why we are asking you all to come with us with this book drive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gregg. Next, we have Ms. Bobby Thompson or Mr. Chester Thompson, or both of you? Both coming. Okay, great. Come on up. Do you want to use this mic? Okay.
I'm the vice president of the Eastside Neighborhood Watch Association, and I'm the president, he's the vice president. You want to speak on Jeff Hamilton Park?
Last year, we had a national night out at Jeff Hamilton Park, and we didn't have any lights. So is what I'm asking, if some lights could be put down there for this year, for we're going to use it again this year, if the Lord bless and Mayor Jones says it's okay, we're going to use it again. But we would like and ask the council if it could be some lights put down there, because it's very, very dark down there when we have our national night out. We can't hardly see down there. And it's, we're going to ask in the name of Mayor Jones if he will see to it being there. Thank you.
I also have, these are some, from the Eastside Neighborhood Watch Association. These are compliment and complaint form, and I'd just like to turn it over to y'all. It's just things that we see that maybe y'all can help us with that we do need in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. That concludes our public comment portion of our meeting this evening. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed under this section are considered to be routine by the City Council, and they may be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and it will be considered separately. And tonight, this is item 5A through L. Council, are there items that you wish to be removed from the consent agenda for individual consideration or voting?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item H.
Okay, very well. Any other items that you wish to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion on items 5A through L, less item 5H.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second for approval of the consent agenda with the exception of item 5H. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Councilmember Janczak?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item 5H is a second reading to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a conditional use permit to allow a package store with alcoholic beverage sales for off-premise consumption in a 6,000-square-foot building on Lot 1 of Block 4 of the Hilltop Estates Addition 7 at 1521 Marlinwood Road. Council, were you wanting a presentation on this, or was there some particular question you had or comment?
Well, Mr. Mayor, this location is in District 3, and obviously we did get the briefing last meeting and passed it on the first reading. However, since that has occurred, there's been considerable discussion with not just myself but other council members regarding the appropriateness of the location of this package store. The proposed owner is out of town, and I think in deference to him, if we could table this item for 2 weeks till the next council meeting, that would offer time for public comment of individuals to talk to their respective council members, as well as discussions with the owner.
Mr. Janczak, I'll accept that as a motion to table item 5H. Okay.
Second.
And a motion and a second. If there's further discussion, there being none, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter.
Aye.
Councilmember Janczak.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna.
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Item 6 is a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the voluntary annexation of a 1.7-acre tract of land located west of FM 2271, north of Live Oak Ridge Park, out of the G.W. Lindsay Survey, Abstract 513, and zoning the area Plan Development General Retail District. Mr. Dolan.
Again, Mayor Jones and Council, the public hearing for us this evening is to start finishing the annexation of the 1.7-acre tract that's shown on the aerial overview this evening. You had the application submitted January the 5th. You had 2 public hearings on February 4th and the 5th, and this is the actual public hearing for zoning the property. The applicant is requesting the Plan Development General Retail District that would be included with the remainder of the property, as you can see to the east of this. The PDGRs for this land that's coming forward, it would be annexed into a PDGR, which would be looking at the idea of it's conforming to the future land use and character plan for suburban commercial uses, and that what the purpose of the Plan Development District is to try to preserve a lot of the vegetation that's consisting of oak and elm and pecan and also cedar trees on the property. The maximum building height would be 25 feet. The buildings would be set back from FM 2271, the major arterial road, as for the building setback, and then also there would be signs that would be limited out on the roadway, sufficiently high enough to be available to motorists passing by, and also for multi-tenant signs, but this would be built in a monument-style sign. Greater front yard and rear yard setbacks, the minimum front yard, again, would be 50 feet. This binding site plan will be a part of the annexation of the zoning ordinance. This will also be coming forward to you on your April meeting for the zoning, or your March 18th meeting for the remainder of this property that's inside the city limits for a continuation or an expansion of the Plan Development GR. But all you have in front of you this evening is the property that's being annexed. I'd be happy to answer any questions for the council. The commission did recommend approval for it as it went through the public hearing process.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Any questions for Mr. Dolan or staff on this item, Council? There being none, this is a first reading and a public hearing on the item, and I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record prior to making your comments. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, pleasure on item 6.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance authorizing the voluntary annexation of the 1.7-acre tract of land as so described. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter.
Aye.
Councilmember Janczak.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna.
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Next item is also a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a zoning change from agricultural district to single-family 1 district on approximately a 0.7-acre tract of land being part of the Maximo Moreno Survey, Abstract Number 14, located at 216 North 36th Street. Ms. Lowry?
Yes, good evening. And today's zoning case is scheduled for second reading on March the 18th. And as you can see on the screen, that there is an existing home on this property. The applicant is asking that we rezone the property to single-family 1. It's currently zoned agricultural district, and the request does conform to the single-family 1 regulations. And the aerial shows that the property is located in this little yellow square. It's at the cul-de-sac at the north end of North 36th Street, and as you can see on the aerial, it's surrounded mainly by undeveloped land and residential uses. And then this is a closer look of the surrounding property from the site. In the north view, you'll see this is actually where the property is, and you can see just north of the property, it's just undeveloped land. And then the other views are views of single-family property and undeveloped land. The land use and character map shows that this area is recommended for suburban residential. And the actual property does comply with the single-family residential zoning regulations. This is the zoning map of the property, and as you can see, the property is shown in the agricultural district, and just south of the property is a two-family zoning district, and then to the west of the property is a single-family 3 zoning district, and then North 31st Street is a local street. And so the property currently has a septic system, and it has water availability. There is a sewer line south along North 36th Street, but the property owner does not plan to convert to a sewer system. And this property does comply with the thoroughfare plan, with it having access from a local street, and does have availability of public and private facilities. We sent out 2 notices to surrounding property owners, and we received 1 response in agreement with the request, and we did not receive any in opposition. On February the 15th of 2010, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of this request to single-family 1 because the request complies with the future land use and character map. It complies with the thoroughfare plan. It has available public and private facilities, and the property complies with the single-family 1 regulations. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Thank you, Ms. Lyerly. Is the benefit to the applicant, he can make changes to the residence, get a building permit? Is that what's going on?
It's currently going through the plating process just to get everything in order for the property. And so it's just going to be platted just for that 1 single-family lot, and they're wanting to get the zoning in order.
Okay. Other questions from Ms. Lyerly or staff? There being none, this item requires a public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record prior to making your comments. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the zoning change request, first reading, item 7.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the ordinance. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Councilmember Janczak?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item 8 is a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance reestablishing a curfew for minors. Chief, good evening.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Mayor and Council, this ordinance has been in effect since 1994. However, state law requires that you review the ordinance every 3 years, and in doing so, make a decision as to whether or not the ordinance should be continued as is, modified, or discontinued. Also, the state law requires that you conduct a public hearing into the matter and determine whether or not the ordinance continues to meet the needs of our community. The hours covered by the ordinance are Sunday through Thursday nights, beginning at 11 p.m. and continuing until 6 a.m. the next day. Also on Saturday and Sunday, beginning at 12:01 a.m. until 6 a.m. The next morning, the same morning. Technically, that's Friday and Saturday night. The ordinance covers individuals who are under the age of 17. It also covers parents or guardians that knowingly permit minors to violate the curfew. And it also allows enforcement action against business operators that knowingly allow minors to remain on their premises during curfew hours. There are a number of defenses to arrest or prosecution that are covered in the ordinance. Those deal with minors that are accompanied at the time by their parent or guardian, also minors that are on errands that are directed by parents or guardians, also minors that are traveling through the city in a vehicle. Minors are also have a defense if they are engaged in an employment activity. They're going to or from work or during work. Certainly emergency situations are covered. A minor is allowed to be on his or her own property during curfew hours and also the property of a neighbor. Also school, religious, and civic functions are covered under the defenses, as well as supervised recreational activities by the City of Temple specifically and also similar entities. And finally, those minors who are exercising a First Amendment right under the United States Constitution. The ordinance provides primarily crime prevention for the community. It allows officers to engage minors who are out late at night and helps us to prevent more serious offenses from occurring. And it also allows officers to remove minors from environments that are not safe or could be unhealthy for them so that they don't become victims of crime. This slide essentially indicates the enforcement activities we've had over the last 3 years. As you see, in 2007, 289 juveniles were contacted violating curfew. One adult was cited, as well as 2 businesses. In 2008, 200 juveniles were cited, 5 adults and 3 businesses. And then in 2009, 186 juveniles and 3 adults and no businesses. The next few slides basically indicate where in the community we experience these violations. And it's all over town, but certainly you can see where some of the locations tend to be ones that you would predict, places where young people like to congregate. And we tend to have multiples in those places where younger people would congregate. And with that, Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Chief Smith. Council, questions for the Chief?
Chief, I guess just a...
Jonathan?
I'm sorry.
That's good.
Just a question, I guess, on procedure. If an officer ends up citing a juvenile for a violation of this, is there any kind of parental notification that goes along with that?
Absolutely. In fact, before a parent is charged, they have received 2 notices that their child has been found violating curfew. The first notice is by mail, the second notice is in person.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So that's what the adults were, you were citing parents?
Correct.
Okay.
What's the fine, or what's the procedure if one's found outside curfew? What happens? I mean,
the procedure is that the officer will take the minor home and release that minor to a parent. And if the parent's not available, then a responsible adult guardian. The fine ranges up to $500. However, the first violation typically does not result in any fine at all. And frequently, I understand the court issues orders for community service rather than a financial penalty.
Is this action that's handled in our municipal court?
Yes.
It's a Class C
Yes, sir.
misdemeanor? Okay. Other questions? Mr. Graham, any comments you'd like to offer?
Just say that this type of ordinance is quite common in Texas, and it's, as the chief said, it's been proven effective in most cities.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief. This item requires a public hearing. If there's no other questions from the council, I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record prior to making your comments. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on this first reading, considering the adoption of the ordinance to reestablish the curfew for minors.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second for approval of the proposed ordinance. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Councilmember Jansen?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item number 9 is to consider adopting a resolution appointing members to the following city boards and commissions. What I'll do is, if there's no objections, council, I'll read through each of these boards along with the proposed members that are under consideration for appointment or reappointment to each of these boards as we go along. I'll read all of these into the records. I'll pause for a moment between each one if there's any comment or I've missed something or if there's any comments you'd like to have, please state those at that point, and then we'll collectively take these as a single motion if there's no objection. First board is the Building and Standards Commission. These are 2-year terms. This is a board that meets monthly. There's 4 terms expiring, 3 regular members, and an alternate member. And I think there's a recommendation to appoint Ms. Crystal Cowan and Mr. Jeff Norwood to be appointed as regular members. We're deciding at this point to not appoint the 3rd regular member pending notification of some particular area that we would like to see represented on the board, and then to appoint Mr. Scott Morrow as an alternate member of the board. If that's satisfactory, then we'll move on to the Building Board of Appeals. These are 4-year terms. This board meets on a called basis, and there are 3 terms expiring. And it's been proposed that Mr. Alan Horn, who's a general contractor, Mr. Starkey Winnett, a retired individual in our community, would represent an at-large position, and Mr. Will Sears, a general contractor, be appointed to the Building Board of Appeals. Development Standards Advisory Board would be our next board. Again, it meets on a called basis, 3-year terms. We have 2 members eligible for reappointment, Mr. Jim Howe, Mr. Byron Sinclair. And then we have 1 unexpired term that we're looking to fill. And the 3rd member to appoint to a full term is Mr. Monty Clark, and then Mr. Charles Chapman would be the individual appointed to fill the banking position on DSAB to fill an unexpired term that will expire on March 1st of 2012. And without objection, I'll move to the Electrical Board, a board with 3-year terms meeting on a called basis. Specific professions or areas are represented by these members. Mr. John Toon is currently serving and would like to be reappointed. He serves as a utility delivery representative representing Encore, and he would like to be reappointed. And then Mr. Kramen Myers, a master electrician, would be appointed. We don't have an individual in one of the categories that we need to fill that's currently expressed an interest, so right now we're just appointing 2 of the 3 members for that board. Shouldn't present a problem. Again, that board meets on a called basis, so if there's no objection, Mr. John Toon would be reappointed and Kramen Myers would be appointed to a full term. Parks and Leisure Services Advisory Board, 3-year terms, meeting monthly, 3 terms expiring. Mr. David Perez Guerra, his term is expiring, but he's eligible for reappointment, would like to continue to serve, and so we would make that recommendation. And then 2 individuals who have expressed an interest, Mona Fulmer and Mr. Gil Holly, would be proposed to serve. The Temple Public Safety Advisory Board, 3-year terms, meeting monthly, and we have 1 unexpired term that expires in September 1st of 2010. I recommend Mr. Warren Smith be appointed to fill that open position. Next board is the Tree Board, 3-year terms. They meet on a called basis, but at least 4 times per year. 1 expiring term, that's Mr. David Lockwood, serving at large, and he is eligible for reappointment and would like to continue to serve, and so it's recommended that David Lockwood be reappointed. Zoning Board of Adjustment, 2-year terms, board meeting on a called basis. We have 5 expiring terms on this particular board, 3 regular members and 2 alternates. We have members that are eligible for reappointment, Mr. Scott Morrow and Mr. Bert Pope, who are currently regular members, and then Mr. Brandon Tarnow, who is currently serving as an alternate, and it recommended that he be appointed to serve a regular term, and then that Mr. Keith Odom and Omar Crisp both be appointed to fill as alternates on the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Council, that concludes the appointments on this item 9 for this evening, and if there are no comments, objections, I entertain a motion on item 9.
Motion to approve item 9.
Second.
I have motion and second to approve item 9 and the appointments of the individuals for the specific boards and the positions as indicated in the presentation. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter.
Aye.
Councilmember Jansen.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna.
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. And item 10 is to consider adopting a resolution appointing one alternate member to the Bell County Public Health District Board of Directors. It is proposed that Dr. Jim Madsen be appointed as that alternate for a one-year term for that position on the Bell County Public Health Board. Entertain a motion on that item.
So moved to appoint Dr. Madsen to the Health District Board of Directors.
Second.
Motion is second. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter.
Aye.
Councilmember Jansen.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Luna.
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the agenda for this evening's meeting. Thank you for your attendance this evening and participation, and we'll stand adjourned. Good night.